Hey, good morning. It is 4:04 a.m. Thanks for being here this morning. I wanted to jump in and talk about some severe weather that's moving through our area. We got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Iroquois County now. Quite an intense storm now between Onarga, Gilman, Watseka areas south of US 24. Now, this storm has come through Ashcombe and through the Crescent City area and is continuing off to the south and east. And by all indications here, we are actually seeing some pretty intense hail out of this and seeing some pretty strong winds. So I wanted to jump on this morning for Iroquois County and make sure that we are getting you some updates on that, as for a number of folks, this might be a little bit of a wake-up call, a little bit of an early wake-up call for this storm here. It is likely this storm has golf ball to tennis ball size hail now heading towards the Milford area and continuing to the south and east. Also could very well be some 70-mile-per-hour winds with this storm as it moves off to the south and east. A bit of a slow mover, only moving here at about 20 miles an hour, so not moving all that fast, but the intensity of the storm really picking up, and so that's something that we've been monitoring pretty closely here. That's in the last hour. Sitting over Ashcombe, now it's in the center part of the county, so by about 4:45 it might make it to Hoopston, if not close to there, maybe a little bit to the north and east of town, but moving in that general direction. With this, we have been keeping an eye on perhaps a little bit of organized rotation in the storm too. We call this a supercell thunderstorm, and that supercell thunderstorm is really strong. There's a lot of really intense updrafts, some intense hail with this, and so we're continuing to monitor the situation accordingly with this. I'll show you the rotation here. It's not all that obvious, but you can see these reds and greens coming together. Our radar beam here in Iroquois County is aimed a little high, and so we do have some rotation. Normally, when we're in the wee morning hours like we are now, typically we've got some surface air that's more stable, and that does limit our tornado chance. But when we see even a broad rotating area within the storm, that usually is an indication we've got some intense rising motion and we're able to generate some really large hail with this. And so that is something that probably is the biggest concern. Also could be some rather intense winds. I wouldn't be surprised to see some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds with this storm as it moves on through. I'll switch to my Lincoln radar and to just get a different view on it. Again, we're kind of far away from stuff here from our radar. The beam is shooting at several thousand feet high. Nothing sticking out. Again, that there's tornado potential with this, but I look at the storm and it's a fairly healthy storm with a good updraft with it. And so it's continuing to work its way to the south and east. I'm going to pop on the lightning, and I bet you, look how intense the lightning is. This has been quite a lightning storm in Iroquois County, and is the only storm we have here this morning. There are no other storms that we are seeing. When you look at the lightning count here, in the last 15 minutes, we've had 312 lightning strikes with this. So tons of lightning. The hail threat really ramping up with this storm as it moves to the south and east. And so that's a concern for us. If you know someone in Milford, Wellington, down towards perhaps Hoopston, that's where I think the most intense part of the storm will be. I'll show you the hail potential here as well, the hail size. And you can see that core picking up. It just went through Crescent City, just between Crescent City. See the colors. We start seeing some blues. We're thinking quarter-size hail, but that hail size is really ticked on up, and that's making a real beeline towards Woodland, Milford, Stockland, Wellington, Milling, the Milford area to the south and east there, and the southeast Iroquois County. Fairly rural part of the county, but I know we got a lot of viewers there along Route 1, and they got a special name. It's like Wellington, Milford Land, or something like that. If you live down there, you know what I'm talking about. It's heading towards that area, and so Milford, Wellington, Stockland is the concern here with the storm, as the hail really seems to be ramping up a little bit more with this. This is another thing I'm looking at, just to try and get some ideas of what I'm seeing here. Normally we would use this for debris, but if you see here, the correlation a bit lower with this particular storm, not as obvious. That's maybe a sign to me that there could be maybe a little bit of hail in there, something that I'm watching a little closely here. And then just kind of checking out some other things as well. Let's see if we've got any storm reports coming on in from this storm here. It appears that I haven't had any official reports. Oh, hey, I'm using that camera. We're live right now. So if you want to set that back for me, go ahead and set that back for me. I'm live right now here. Our morning folks are getting in here and checking things out. So yeah, I had a severe thunderstorm. Can you set that so my monitor shot is on there, please? And the cable seems to be pulling it a little bit. So yeah, go ahead and set that back. Zoom it nice and close and tight for me here. Yeah, that'll be good there, yeah. And make sure that didn't spin it out of me. Cool. That'll be good. Okay, so continue to watch this severe thunderstorm warning right now. Some golf ball to tennis ball size hail possible with this storm as it moves to the south and east here. And so that's a concern where we continue to watch this storm coming on in. I'll show you some of the warning information from the National Weather Service. They are considering this threat considerable with 2-inch hail and 70-mile-per-hour winds. And the warning here for the southeastern part of the county goes until 5 a.m. And so that's something that we continue to evaluate and watch. Really concerned for Milford right now. And my thinking is that this storm drifts to the south and east. It'll be close. It'll be close, but maybe we're seeing this move a little more east. And if that happens, it might be Hoopeston, far northeastern Vermilion County, that maybe gets grazed. In fact, hey, I need to go wall to wall. Can you get back there and help me get wall to wall real quick? Let Marianne know. I'm going to get my IFB on. We're going to jump on air for this storm as there is now a destructive tag. Wireless emergency alerts are going up, so bear with us here as we settle on in. So bear with us here. We're kind of resetting and getting some things taken care of. So I need to get my IFB box real quick. So if you're listening right now, we're just kind of setting up to go wall to wall. So bear with me here. I'm grabbing some materials. Okay. So we're going to jump on TV because we've now got a destructive tag on this storm. So let me just step to the back real quick. Hey, Marianne, I need to go wall to wall. I'll be using Max 2 at the pod. And if you can just get me on as soon as you can, I got my IFB. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we're kind of getting set up here. If you're watching, we're just getting set up to go on air right now, so stay tuned with us here. We're going to jump on for this destructive severe thunderstorm warning now in Iroquois County. If you guys can hear me in my IFB, let me know. And let me know what you need. I just need to get on air as soon as possible. Yes, just talk. Cool. Yeah, I've got my IFB on weather on as well. Okay. Cool. Producer checking in. Okay. I need to be on in like now, please. Like, is that the hub that's working on that? Okay. All right, so I'm going to keep talking. If you're listening here, just for our digital coverage, we now have a destructive severe thunderstorm heading into the Milford area. Likely going to be some really intense hail with this. And the latest warning has just jumped this up. And the warning text is going to be for 80-mile-per-hour wind and 2-inch hail with this storm. A radar-indicated storm here coming on through. Can we use the button in the back to get us on air? Okay, 414? Okay. Hey, good morning. We're going to cut in here for some severe weather really quick and check in on some things. We've got a severe thunderstorm now in Iroquois County that is causing some problems for us. And so we want to jump in. This is our only storm of the morning. Likely, if you're in southeastern Iroquois County, your cell phone may have come on and alerted you of what's called a destructive severe thunderstorm warning with this here. This is mainly for 80-mile-per-hour winds and the potential for golf ball to tennis ball size hail. With the strength of this storm, the destructive tag is the upper end of severe thunderstorms here. And so I wanted to jump on and inform you of that. We're concerned now great for Milford, Stockland, and Wellington for some 80-mile-per-hour winds, and perhaps as well, we could be looking at the potential for some hail the size of golf balls to tennis balls with that here. And so that's why we've got that. You see this pink outline on there? When we see that pink outline show up, that's that notice to us that this storm is very dangerous, a potentially destructive severe thunderstorm warning now moving to the south and east. Southeast Iroquois County until 5 a.m. This warning continues, and right now the storm is south of US 24. If you're in Watseka, you're all clear. Gilman, Onarga, all clear. Ashcombe, Crescent City, the storm came through your area earlier. And then as we look into the Woodworth, Milford, Stockland, Wellington, the Greer area, this storm drifting to the south and east. Also going to keep a very close eye on Hoopston as the storm is moving in your direction. Now, this storm right here is warned, moving to the south and east. It's only moving about 20 miles an hour, so a very slow mover. We typically don't deal with storms like this in the wee hours of the morning, but as we've been talking, the severe threat a little uncertain how it would evolve today. This storm has tapped into some ingredients to provide some dangerous conditions for southeastern Iroquois County. This warning goes until 5 o'clock here. You can see the intensity of the lightning really popping on this storm, this supercell thunderstorm, as it moves to the south and to the east. Milford, Wellington, Greer, we're watching for you here. Sista Park, you are in the warning. It's likely that the warning, the severe part of the storm will be just to the east of town. Buckley, Loda, you are okay. Onarga, Gilman, all clear. Watseka, the storm has passed to your south, still getting some lightning, perhaps some light rain. All clear for Watseka proper. The most intense part of that storm is off to the south and east. We are live also on our digital platforms and looking for any reports we have from the area, but this is a storm that's rather intense here. And you can see right now this core of wind sticks out to me very near Milford. Concern for the Milford area right now with that potential for 80-mile-per-hour winds and some of that the golf ball to potentially tennis ball size hail. This will be an intense downdraft of wind coming in through that area. And so if you happen to be up this morning watching on TV, we are on our digital platforms. If your power goes out, that probably a realistic scenario for us for some parts of southeastern Iroquois County. 80-mile-per-hour winds, 2-inch hail, could be golf ball, maybe up to tennis ball with that very intense and dangerous thunderstorm working to the south and east. Looking at some reports from the National Weather Service, they are saying a home weather station between Onarga and Crescent City has a wind gust measured of 78 miles per hour. 78 mile per hour wind gust measured with the storm as it moves off to the south and east here. And so that's a sign that we've had some really intense winds with this, which has prompted this escalation this morning of our severe thunderstorm warning. Typically, we reserve wall-to-wall coverage for tornado warnings, but the gravity of the situation with such intense wind and such large hail has prompted the National Weather Service to issue that destructive tag. And so that is something that has not only escalated our concern, but also wireless emergency alerts. You typically get a tornado warning alert on your cell phone. Well, your cell phone may have just gone off for a severe thunderstorm warning. That tells you the intensity of the storms. They reserved that for the higher end scenarios. So right now, really concerned about this signature near and just west of Milford, just south of Woodland here. It's going to be continuing to the south and east. Our next radar update coming in a couple of minutes is going to bring that most intense wind on Route 1 from Milford, perhaps just to the south of town as this wind and hailstorm continues to move on through. I do not have concerns at this point for a actual tornado to form. That doesn't mean it wouldn't happen. We just don't see the obvious rotation signature in here that we would look for. That, if it were to develop, would be more south and west here. This is in the middle of the storm, a very obvious sign to me of some downdraft winds that are coming on through with some intense wind there. And so that's what we're continuing to watch. We got no severe thunderstorm watch this morning. We've got no severe weather information like that this morning. But when we kind of look at things here, I'll pull up our risk of severe weather for the day today. And let me just pull that here. This will kind of give us an overview of what we're seeing for the day. We've got the potential for some of these morning storms. We weren't certain how they would go. They've decided to be a little intense for us here. Our entire area today under a slight risk. The greater concern was perhaps we'd have some redevelopment this afternoon into tonight. So it could be a multiple round type of day where we just continue to monitor things. And you'll see the state outlook here as we pull that up. That broad slight risk really is from north to south here for these line of storms coming on through. We got some isolated storms this morning. There may be more redevelopment across the state with the potential for some wind and hail as the primary threats. Probably wind the greatest threats if this afternoon. That's a concern for us. But when we look at the hail threat this morning, that certainly has been the biggest problem. That's a look at our radar here. There is one storm. And that is it. If you're watching in Springfield, Decatur, Champaign this morning, good morning to you. Just fine. We're here a little early for you for some coverage. Effingham, you're saying, what's going on? Mattoon, Charleston, just fine here. This is an Iroquois County issue, may become a northern Vermilion County issue here before long. And that's our one storm, a supercell thunderstorm coming on through here right now over Milford. Just got a report from a viewer. Says the hail is hitting in Milford now. He can hear the hail on the roof. This severe thunderstorm warning, 80-mile-per-hour winds, golf ball to tennis ball size hail as it continues to the south. It is likely to cause some destruction to trees, power lines. The hail also a concern. When you get wind-driven hail, that is not a good situation for us this morning, and that's why we're kind of escalating that coverage a little bit for us here in the Iroquois County area. I'm going to look here real quick at some information from the National Weather Service. What we've got is, let me just send that info off to NWS. Here, just typing some information to them with that report. Okay, we got that out. Okay, so the Iroquois County Emergency Management Agency saying there's a tree down across Route 49 near the fairgrounds, just northwest of Crescent City. And so there's some sign of some wind damage with this storm, too. I want to see what the National Weather Service in Lincoln is thinking. Iroquois County is covered by the National Weather Service in Chicago. In Lincoln, they cover Vermilion County. So I'm going to get an early thought on what they're seeing, perhaps, or what thinking they've got for this storm coming on through. And they are monitoring it. No warning coming yet for Vermilion County, but on its trajectory, probably going to be looking at northeastern Vermilion County here. And again, this is a slow-moving storm, 20 miles an hour. Yep. 78-mile-an-hour wind gusts in Narga and Crescent City. Got that report as well. Thank you for that. Madison, our producer in the back, letting me know about that. Again, we had a 78-mile-an-hour wind gust between the Crescent City and Narga area. Trees down near the fairgrounds as well with this storm coming on through. And the wind and hail, the biggest concern for this storm now between Cissna Park and Milford. And up towards the areas to the south and east part of the county. If you can, Madison, do you mind helping me out a little bit and just text me any information you got? That'd be a little more helpful for me here. My ears are not working this morning, and so I'll be able to read anything that you're able to provide as well here. So that's that severe thunderstorm warning now in southeastern Iroquois County. Milford, the storm is over you. Lots of folks in Milford now probably waking up to some intense hail and also to some strong winds. I haven't had any reports of power outages yet. This thankfully does not appear to be a tornado risk, but seeing some pretty significant concerns with that hail and wind threat. Let me pull up the outage map, in fact, and just kind of look here. There are some outages reported in Kankakee and Iroquois County. Nothing standing out yet, but if you get some 80-mile-per-hour winds and you get some even just golf ball size hail, you're asking for some problems with that, and that's what the storm may be doing for us here this morning. Let me bring up my velocity product. There it is now. That's that intense core of wind in Milford now. And again, our radar beam at this point is looking rather far away from us. And what that is that means we're not getting as close of a view to the ground as we might normally get. But when I see this signature here, to me, there is some intense wind in the Milford area from this storm as it moves off to the south and east. Coming up next is going to be Wellington, Prairie Green, Stockland, southeastern part of the county. Cissna Park, I think you're going to be good. From Goodwine to the east, that's going to probably be a problem. I know there's a campground out here in the Fountain Creek area. That should stay to the east of there. We're all clear in Woodworth and Woodland. Of course, Route 24, Highway 24 corridor, all clear now. We are south of that and east of Illinois 49, really riding the Illinois 1 corridor off to the south and east with this storm as it continues to move on through. I'll show you as well our hail size estimate here. And from what we can tell, you can see the most intense hail, the signature, showed up earlier here south of Crescent City and Woodworth and continuing to the south and east. And as that occurred, then maybe not showing as large of hail here. What we likely saw is all of that intense hail aloft just dropped between Crescent City and Milford. Still, though, when I see these purple colors, I'm thinking there's probably some $half, maybe up to golf ball size hail with that. And even that with some strong wind is going to be a problem for us as we continue to watch here. We're on a little early for you this morning. It is 4:24 a.m. The reason we're here is for this destructive severe thunderstorm warning in the southeastern part of Iroquois County. That activated wireless emergency alerts for 80-mile-per-hour winds and golf ball size hail or larger. And so we are here now with some extended coverage on air and on our digital platforms. You're watching, you're saying, what's going on? Some of you probably waking up and saying, hey, I'm hearing the hail, just like we had some folks saying in Milford. If you've got any reports, hail, power outage, things of that, you could give us those reports on our digital platforms as well, as we're getting some information. A 78-mile-an-hour wind gust reported up towards the Crescent City area with this, and then there's also been some trees down along Illinois 49 from this storm as it's come on through, and so we're a little concerned. Now at the southeastern part of the county, and for perhaps starting to think more about northeastern Vermilion County. Still a little ways away here. It looks pretty close to Hoopeston, but it's moving at 20 miles an hour. That's it, a slow mover here. That's going to carry it to the south and east. So early heads up now, Hoopeston, east on Illinois 9 to the state line, the Ambia, Indiana area, parts of Fountain and Benton County, Indiana. We're going to watch very closely for you the northeastern part of Vermilion County. Here's Rossville. I tend to think this probably stays just north and east of Rossville. It'll be close for you. Not concerned about this for Rankin. East Lynn, I think it'll be east of you. Danville, this is probably going to stay north of you as well. And so we're going to watch things closely here. Just got a report from Linda of quarter-size hail, couple miles west of Crescent City earlier this morning. And so I'm going to forward that report on as well with this storm, this dangerous storm that moves to the south and to the east. So if you've got a hail size, quarter size hail in Crescent, the quarter-sized hail in Crescent City in the Crescent City area reported earlier, a couple of miles west of town. Not surprised by that at all. There's probably some larger hail in there. At this point, we'll be interested to hear about hail sizes. If you're looking for hail sizes and you're saying, how do I measure hail sizes here? Well, I got a chart that'll kind of help illustrate this for you here. We watch hail coming from a storm. If you've got some sort of object that has a fixed size, if you've got a fixed size relative to that here, we're looking at sizes down here. If you got a coin, even if the hail is not the size of a quarter, it's large. And that setting a quarter shows us reference to what an inch is here. Golf ball, we're thinking that size could have been up to hen egg, maybe a little bit larger towards tennis ball size hail in some isolated spots there. And then, of course, the big problem has been the wind estimated at 80 mile per hour. 80 mile per hour is wind gust is what we've had estimated with this 78-mile-an-hour wind gust reported in the Crescent City area, Onarga area, up to the north and west of this storm. So this storm has had a history of hail and has had a history of some pretty intense winds. So at this point now, storm's moving to the south of Milford, and we're seeing that wind maybe not as intense from what I'm seeing, but I think there's still going to be some pretty big hail there. Wellington, Stockland, Greer, that's our next concern here. Still having some intense rain and storm activity in the Milford area, but now south of town. And this will be east of Cissna Park and to the north and east of Hoopeston. It'll be a close call. We might get grazed in Hoopeston, but I have some optimism that this stays mainly north and east of town here. And between Hoopeston and Ambia on Route 9, Route 9 turns to the Indiana state line, Indiana 352, I should say, up there towards the Ambia area. That'll be coming in that general direction here. as we continue to watch things with this storm. No warning for Vermilion County yet, but pretty soon here, I suspect we're going to get a little polygon sliced in the corner part of the county with some severe weather. So that'll be for the Hoopeston area, and something that we'll be watching. Deanna says they've had heavy hail on our live stream on Facebook. If you've had hail, let us know. We are very interested in some of those reports as they continue to move to the south and east. And I'm going to check my Facebook page as well, see if there's any comments that have been added to some of the graphics and things of that, where we've got this storm coming on through. At this point, the severe thunderstorm warning for 80-mile-per-hour winds and 2-inch hail holds. That's going to be larger than golf ball, potentially up to the size of earlier. It may have been tennis ball based on some of the indications I was looking at. So kind of watching things closely here and keeping an eye on it. And some other reports coming in on some of the graphics. Lightning show reported north of Hoopeston, and high winds and hail in Milford. Then seeing some other people saying they've had some pretty big hail with that, but nothing official on the board. And so if you get a size, let us know. All right, control in the back. If we can, the severe thunderstorm warning has the intensity of the warning has been dropped a little bit now. We're still looking at some 70-mile-per-hour winds and some 1-inch hail. With that, at 4:33, I'd like to toss back to regular coverage, and then I'll be continuing that digital stream only. So on air, if you're watching us and saying, hey, I'm going to get more information, we're now looking at 70-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch hail. Our criteria is we will cut in for severe thunderstorm warnings for hail, either up to tennis to baseball size, or for 80-mile-per-hour winds. And we had that report in Iroquois County confirmed, and that's why we jumped on TV for you. So at 4:33, we're going to toss back to coverage and wrap things up, at least on the television side. But I'm going to keep things going on the digital side for a little bit longer here. Really now looking at southeastern Iroquois County and the northeastern Vermilion County is about all we have to worry about before the storm gets into Indiana. This severe thunderstorm warning in Iroquois County continues until 5 a.m. and is something that we'll continue to monitor. It's through Milford, Wellington, and Greer. Say it again. Perfect. Thank you so much. Wellington and Greer next in line. Still going to be an intense storm, but the most significant concerning part of the severe weather may be coming down a little bit, which is some good news for us. We like hearing that. These storms will sometimes cycle up, become pretty intense, wrap back down, lessen in intensity, and that's what we've seen. Maybe we've taken it down a step here, but still an intense storm, and that's why we'll be on digital platforms here. The threat level earlier was criteria as destructive. Now we're considering it as a considerable threat. That destructive tag is not something you see every day in central Illinois with the intensity of severe thunderstorm. And that's been the case with this storm, where we escalated things a little bit to the north and west of Milford. There is some great concern for potentially some destructive wind damage in the Milford area, as well as with some pretty large hail out of this storm. Probably, here's something else to look at, is the rain. Just to get an idea here, it's been likely farmers in Iroquois County from this southward diving storm have had some decent rain, at least in the north central part of the county from Ashcombe towards the Crescent City area. There's probably been some 1 to 2 inch rainfall totals there. So I think the farmers, they're probably grateful for that. There will be more chances for severe weather through the day today. And we're not going anywhere necessarily yet as far as coverage. We'll be switching to digital and kind of watch this. And if we need to, we'll cut back in. But 5 o'clock starts, we start our newscast, the morning show here. And so that is something that we'll continue to monitor this storm as it moves in a general south and east direction. Don't forget, this storm right here is a great example of something where you may consider weather call. And if you're thinking about weather call here, that's an option for you. You got a phone call for a warning like that this morning. If you got that alert, you can sign up for weather call, scan that code here. We got about 40 seconds left, or go to our website, WCIA.com/weather/weather call. We'll call you whenever there's an alert. So in the middle of the night, you are not worried about waking up. This storm did have that more enhanced wording. And so wireless emergency alerts, phones did go off in southeastern Iroquois County, but that may be a consideration for you if you're moving on forth. Before we go here, one last update. Severe thunderstorm warning, southeastern Iroquois County. I'm going to continue my digital coverage for you on our digital platforms, and then we will see you coming up here and during the morning show at 5 o'clock with more information. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday morning. I'm Jacob Dickey, back to regularly scheduled program. Okay, we're all clear on the television side. I'm going to continue this digital coverage. Just watch this storm and monitor things a little bit more. So you're watching maybe on TV and keeping an eye on it. Southeastern Iroquois County now. We're going to probably see some hail pick up in Wellington shortly, the Greer area shortly, and potentially as well areas to the north and east of Hoopeston. Now the storm's warned for 70-mile-per-hour winds and some quarter-size hail. The National Weather Service not noticing as intense of wind or hail with it. So they have taken the severity of that warning down, and there was something to say. Tammy said she got her call, was sure glad for this storm there. Tammy, I'd love to hear more about your story in my message inbox. If you want to send me a message more with the details with what happened, I would appreciate hearing that. We love hearing the success stories of Weather Call. Tammy saying, hey, I got my call, was sure glad. Thank you for that. We've had a number of those success stories. So with Weather Call, and the reason we brought that is for the middle of the night thing. Sometimes in the middle of the night, these storms will just do whatever they want. There's not really a whole lot of control for that. We've got the case here, though, in southeastern Iroquois County, where this storm escalated pretty quickly for us now. And so we're continuing to watch things with that. I will say the National Weather Service in Lincoln, which monitors Vermilion County, probably in the next 10 minutes going to add a warning to the northeastern part of the county. And so we will be watching that pretty closely here. At this point, have not seen any official word from them, but I think that's something that they'll be continuing to monitor. Quarter-size hail has been reported in the Woodworth area from this storm. In Milford, we had 10 minutes of quarter-size hail with that, and then just got a photo from Crescent City of slightly larger than quarter-size hail. And so that is something where this storm has had a history of producing some pretty intense winds and some hail with that. And so we are definitely seeing that play out for us here. Time now, 4:35. This warning goes till 5 o'clock. It looks like it might be getting to the edge of the county line, and that might be getting added to northeastern Vermilion County here. Got a report in Crescent City. Some hail, perhaps up to the size of quarters. And Rita sent me a nice video of some lightning, so I'll have to show you some of the information on that coming up here with this. So with that, I'm going to wait for one more radar update. And I may end up wrapping up the digital coverage and just throw the radar full screen for you to follow along. That way, if we need to jump back in, we can. So far, it's been just quarter-size hail. I do know that the largest hail fell in rural areas, so if there's probably a few farmers that have some hail larger than that, we just haven't heard from them yet. They may not be up yet or haven't had the reports. All right, there's the warning now for Vermilion County being added to the table. And we see here, they have also extended that warning for quarter-size hail and up to 70-mile-per-hour winds. They are considering this a considerable severe thunderstorm. And that considerable tag does not activate wireless emergency alerts, but it does at least give us some indication that there's some severe weather likely happening. Just an update from the Iroquois County EMA office. They are asking for any reports of wind damage between Ashcombe and Wellington in the path of the storm. So if you got any wind damage reports, any hail reports, that certainly is something that we appreciate seeing with the storm as it continues off to the south and to the east. I'm going to go ahead and bring this full screen real quick, just let you look at it for a minute. That weather call is something that worked this morning for Tammy. You can see her comment there on our digital platforms. And Tammy has indicated, hey, I got the alert for that, so that's some good news. Weather call just went off for northeastern Vermilion County. If you live in Hoopeston, Rankin, East Lynn, Rossville, if you live between Henning and Alvin, you just got that report, that call as well. Get a drink of water there. That call just going out now for weather call for northeastern Vermilion County. If you live in Potomac or Bismarck or Penfield and Champaign County there, you live down in Danville, Oakwood, anywhere else in the county, no weather call for you. This only alerts if you're inside the polygon there, and it's just an extra resource, extra way to get awake here. That's going to include the Route 1 corridor from Hoopeston down towards US 136 there between Henning and Bismarck. Includes Rossville, going to include Route 9 between Rankin and the state line there. And we'll probably see a warning come as well for southwestern Benton County and potentially northwestern Fountain County before long. So might see some additional boxes pop up indicating some warnings coming on in. Nice thing about weather call is you don't have to actually live in our viewing area to utilize that. Maybe you've got a relative that lives somewhere farther away. Well, Channel 3 can call them in Florida or wherever else they happen to be, and that'll allow them to get weather information. So you got a relative somewhere, you're saying, hey, I think it'd be pretty nice to have a phone call. If there's weather alerts, maybe my relative lives somewhere, it'd be good for them. $12 a year is all it is. And so it's a great resource that we have. Really seeing the intensity of that wind coming down. That's some good news from what I'm able to tell here. And the National Weather Service does see that as well. They've gone from 80 to 70 in the warning. 70-mile-an-hour wind, still nothing to joke with here. But with that storm moving on to the south and east, there still could be some wind and the hail threat as well. Probably getting some hail in the Wellington area here. Let me pull up the hail size estimate, just see if we're getting anything. Those colors have come down a little bit here. They're more of that light blue. That's generally under a quarter size. So quarter size or under is kind of what we're looking at. Goodwine, Wellington. So that 1.1 inch, that's about a quarter size hail in there. There was likely some larger hail. And I'll put the swath on so we can see here. We'll be looking for any hail reports as the data pops back on. It's going to take a brief second for it to. But there you can see there was probably some really intense hail between Onarga and Watsika here. And if I back this up a little bit, you'll see that hail intensity picked up northeastern Ford County, Cabery, Stell, and then between Ashcombe up towards the Danforth area, down through the Gilman and Onarga area. And then that hail really picked up between Crescent City and Milford and Cissna Park. Likely some large hail there. And then the hail size has been slowly dropping then with time. But it's particularly here south of Crescent City, you can see radar earlier estimating some hail. Potentially there, 2.3 inches. That's getting close to tennis ball size hail there, which was a concern we had for the storm dropping to the south and to the east. So that's our hail swath. It's an estimate of what's happened. So far, the confirmed reports have only come in as quarter size, but thankfully we don't seem to have had hail hit a direct town that's been larger than quarter, but we have had a 78-mile-per-hour wind gust that was confirmed earlier. That's probably not the case for us now, but still something that we will watch and continue to monitor for us here. So with that, the storm moving to the south and east, Hoopeston, the wind picking up in town, just got a report of that. And we're getting to a point where the radar beam is really high up in this neck of the woods. And let me real quick. I'm gonna do a quick conference with my morning show producer real quick. Kind of talk through the 5 a.m. So if you're watching now, we're gonna temporarily you'll not hear me for a second, but that's gonna give me a chance to talk to my morning show producer and kind of see what we've got going on with this particular storm. So with that, he should be coming here in just a second, and we'll get that. Severe thunderstorm warning, southeastern Iroquois, northeastern Vermilion County till 5:15, Iroquois County until 5 o'clock. We'll be watching Hoopeston. To me, the intensity of the storm has come down, and that's some good news for us here, but we still could get some 60 to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, perhaps some quarter-size hail with that. All right, hang on one second. I'm going to mute my microphone. We're going to have a little conference here, and I'll be back in about 2 minutes from now. All right, welcome back here. It is 4:46. Thanks for sticking with us. I think Ethan is on TV now, perhaps. Just kidding. He's not. He just walked by there. We had my producers come in and talk about things. If you have any damage reports in Iroquois County, we would really appreciate hearing that. We're kind of talking about getting a reporter up that way, maybe to look into the Milford area, Crescent City area, up towards the county fairgrounds. And so that is something that we will continue to watch and monitor with this. So the severe thunderstorm warning now, the concern continuing to drop. I mean, there's still going to be an intense storm for southeastern Iroquois County. The 70-mile-per-hour wind and quarter-size hail holds. To me, the hail threat looks like it's now moving through southeastern Iroquois County, maybe pulling away from Hoopeston. That's going to carry it in Indiana. There's still maybe a little bit of hail, but I'm not as concerned as I was earlier. And it's going to be breezy with some wind, but we get the storm pretty quickly across the state line. No longer much of a concern for us here. And so with that, then, what we're going to do is I'm going to end up cutting my coverage off here on the air, on digital platforms. And if you get any reports, let us know. We would appreciate hearing that. We're looking for hail reports, looking for wind reports from Iroquois County, and wanted to get some more information. But the severity of these storms continues to come down, and I'm really happy to see that trend. It's not over, but it's still going to be an intense storm. But with this general tug to the east there, maybe we're going to pull the storm out of our warning coverage area pretty quickly. And so that's some good news for us with this severe thunderstorm warning. Hoopeston, watching you still. Wellington, it's mainly through you. The wind still there. Might still be some hail. This is going to be over Prairie Green, south of Stockland, where the core of the storm is. And it'll be carrying towards the Ambia, Indiana here before long. And so that's something that we'll continue to monitor. So as this storm does so, we're going to have updates on WCIA 3 News at 5 o'clock, the morning show. Be sure and join the TV there for more updates, and we will keep you updated. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on television in just